The Republic of Indonesia in Southeast Asia comprises some 17,000 islands. Much of Indonesia lies within an area that has been termed the Coral Triangle, reaching to Malaysia in the west, the Philippines in the north, and Papua New Guinea and the Solomon Islands in the east. This region has been designated on account of its extraordinary marine biodiversity. A combination of warm water, tropical light, and enriching ocean currents has created ideal conditions for a myriad of aquatic creatures to thrive. More than 500 species of coral and more than 3,000 species of fish live here. The Coral Triangle has been called the global centre of marine biodiversity and is a focus for many conservation efforts. At the heart of the sprawling Indonesian archipelago and of the Coral Triangle lies Sulawesi, the 11th largest island in the world. Much of Sulawesi is fringed by hard coral reefs. For example, at Bunaken Island, off the North Sulawesi coast near Manado, pristine coral reefs teem with tropical fish. Down below, green turtles rest on ledges in the reef wall. Schools of pelagic fish patrol the deep blue water of the coast, and the occasional shark cruises by. Across the North Sulawesi Peninsula lies Lembe Island, separated from the mainland by the Lembe Strait, a waterway some 15 kilometers long and 1 to 2 kilometers wide. The undulating coast is lined on both sides by rainforest and plantations of coconut palms, which are farmed primarily for their oil. The strait is overlooked by Mount Klebat, a dramatic dormant volcano on the Sulawesi mainland. The busy town of Bitung lies at the southern end of the strait and is Sulawesi's main deep-water port. The underwater landscape here is quite different. Much of the seabed consists of gently sloping plains of dark sand and silt, tiny fragments of volcanic lava that can appear barren at first. Visibility is more limited, and newcomers might be forgiven for wondering why they are here. But a closer look reveals a vast array of life, supported by the currents passing through the sheltered strait, and nutrients from the mineral-rich substrate. Many of the animals are unusual and exotic species rarely seen elsewhere. The area is a popular breeding ground for many species, and the juveniles often stick around during their development. Over the years, a lot of refuse has been discarded into the strait from passing boats or from the shore. Everything from bottles to tyres is encountered underwater. Although some of the trash is undoubtedly toxic, in many cases it has become integrated with the natural features and is an important part of the underwater ecosystem. On a seabed with relatively little natural shelter, everything that can be used as a habitat invariably is. Pioneering explorers first discovered Lembe's charms in the 1990s. The term muck diving had been coined for similar dives in Papua New Guinea, and Lembe soon became a mecca for this growing activity, and in particular for macrophotographers and videographers. Several dive centres have since been established on both sides of the strait, and liveaboard vessels occasionally visit too. Despite the extra traffic, there is plenty to go around, and many stretches of the coastline have been recognised and christened as dive sites. Although coral reefs are sparse, the muck is punctuated by occasional oases of life, such as this colony of branching flowerpot coral on the slope at TK2. These xenia soft corals also sit isolated at Nudie Retreat. The pulsating movement of the tentacles is not to catch plankton, as is commonly thought, because the polyp mouth and digestive tract are no longer functional. Rather, the motion enhances gas exchange and assists the uptake of dissolved nutrients from the water. Such sessile animals, those that are fixed in one place, succeed in spots where currents are plentiful. The exposed reefs at Critter Hunt in the middle of the strait are ideal for ascidians or sea squirts. This is a colony of stalked ascidians rooted to one of the reefs. Water is inhaled through the larger hole, the oral siphon. Organic particles are filtered out for food, and the water and waste products exit via the smaller atrial siphon. This nearby compound ascidian consists of many small individuals, each called a zooid, forming a single sheet-like colony with a shared circulation. Symbiotic relationships between marine creatures are crucial to many species' survival underwater, and nowhere is this more apparent than around sea anemones. On the mucky slopes, large communities of saddleback clownfish shelter in Haddon's carpet anemones in a classic example of mutual symbiosis. The anemone's stinging tentacles provide protection for the clownfish, which are immune to the sting. The clownfish chase away polyp-eating predators, and their feces provide food for the anemone. At Nudie Retreat, this juvenile saddleback clownfish shelters alone in a sebe anemone. The fish swims constantly to stay still in the current. In this sebe anemone, a slightly older saddleback clownfish is joined by a Holthuis shrimp. The shrimp also uses the anemone's tentacles for protection, but the anemone doesn't appear to benefit in any way. This is known as a commensal relationship, and the shrimps in this group are known as commensal shrimps or partner shrimps. This elegance coral plays host to a number of the slightly different magnificent shrimp. Tube anemones are also found in isolation on the mucky seabed, and this example is home to a solitary magnificent shrimp which lives at its base. These graceful commensal shrimps are found in a night anemone, one of their typical habitats. This anemone mimics corals during the daytime and only extends its mouth to feed at night. It has an extremely potent sting that immobilizes prey. The venom doesn't affect the shrimps, but is dangerous to humans. It leaves ulcers in the skin and can even cause kidney failure. Researchers have suggested that the venom may be useful in developing medical drugs. These shrimps seem more interested in cleaning themselves than any third party. This warty sea cucumber is also known as a curry fish because of its popularity in Asian cooking. Sea cucumbers such as this often host emperor shrimps. The shrimps are usually found in couples. The male is smaller and has consistent coloration with white markings down its back. The female is larger and the coloration is more variable. The shrimps hang head down and feed on detritus picked off the seabed as the host creeps along. This pair of emperor shrimps is travelling on a synaptid sea cucumber, sometimes known as a medusa worm. the female is completely lacking the white spots that are usually present. Eggs can clearly be seen under the abdomen of this large female. The brood is protected by her shell and her swimming legs, which are folded up. As well as sea cucumbers, emperor shrimps also hitchhike on larger sea slugs, such as Spanish dancers. This pretty tube anemone is feeding on the plankton brought by the